Tonight, gloves come off during public hearing into anti-gay bill as MPs clash with civil society representatives.
The gentleman who just left here, who works with CDD, has made allusions, blasphemous, and insulting words on members of parliament. Please. He said, we have turned the bill to Tumutumu, and you are telling this to members of parliament.
We are live in Parliament, and here why the Ghana AIDS Commission is warning it may lose desperately needed donor funding unless the bill is amended.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. It is day one of the much anticipated public hearing into the anti-gay bill, and already we've seen the gloves come off. MPs today clashed with civil society representatives, either pushing, for instance, of disrespecting MPs and violating its standing orders. Now, Professor Prempeh is one of the militarism and populism.
The parade of horribles that have been used to drive this bill are things that I'm not for. But the Parliament of Ghana is supposed to cure mischiefs that threaten this society. That wrong. Are we saying that the state can then burden individual citizens with the obligation to make children? One, maybe optimally 5 is what will sustain the species, so that your species will be replicated. This is the road down to totalitarianism. This is a very dangerous road. Society, the police state, were not just the persons that the bill is directly aimed at, but allies, me, ones that should procreate. What is this? Where is it coming from? Russia? Where's it coming from? Where is this coming from? This is very un-Ghanaian.
Well, it appears some members of parliament who had thronged the committee room did not take kindly to his pronouncements. What seemed to have angered these MPs even more, the most is Professor Edkwesi Prempeh of using insulting language. We'll come to his concerns first, but what exactly did Professor Edkwesi Prempeh say that may have so offended the MPs on this particular matter? Hear him.
Right? Constitutions are not written as codes. They state general principles. That is why you have not to negate their existence, where they are inherent to your being as a person. And sex, the right to have private, consensual, adult sex, isn't to name that right. It is that right that you have, that I have, that every heterosexual person has. That is the right that is being trampled upon here in this constitution, in this bill, as respect only to LGBT persons. And on what grounds? Unnatural? Obviously not, because you remain free, I remain free to do those unnatural things. And that go around the media. They've even coined a word for it. The whole bill has gotten lost. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, they call it Trumu Trumu. The Trumu Trumu bill. They called us all the Trumu Trumu professors and others. Right? So is that, if it is about that, if the menace is there, it's just difficult for me to understand why it would be applied only as to same-sex persons or LGBT persons, if it is the source of this peculiar menace that you say we are trying to kill. So once you read the bill of all of its superficiality, what remains is what this is an attempt to convert sins into crimes.
Well, Emmanuel Bedra, MP for Whole West, was the first to fight back, accusing the Professor Edkwesi Prempeh of insulting MPs.
Order 93.2. It shall be out of order to use offensive, abusive, insulting, blasphemous, and unbecoming words or to impute improper motives to any member or to any personal allusions. And I'm drawing your attention, Mr. Chairman, to the fact that the gentleman who just left here, who works with CDD, who has come out with a research, and the member of the concerned citizen and also a member of whatever right, has made allusions, blasphemous, and insulting words on members of parliament right here before your presence.
Which voice are you complaining of, please?
He said, we have turned the bill to Tumu.
No.
Wait. Finish.
Okay.
We are, when we allow this bill, the bill will make us become a police state, a totalitarian state, un-Ghanaian. And you are telling this to members of parliament.
Honorable member,
Honorable Esla, you are not a judge.
Honorable member, I think that the man we have invited our guest to actually, please, I do not think that the words he used were insulting. They were used in relation to the bill. And I do not think that, please don't take this serious. I do not think that the man is actually, what he has said is actually derogatory to Parliament. He used the words like trumu. I am taking this judicial notice to say that a lot of people refer to this bill as trumu. It's true. And it does not mean that exactly. And you have heard from the media. That is what he's saying. We invited them to give us our view, and he thinks that if we should accept this bill in this form, that is what it would amount to. I do not think that there's anything wrong with it. And get the next speaker, please.
Well, it appears that intervention by the chairman did not end it. Some members of parliament were still not happy. They were still pushing. Let me bring in my parliamentary correspondent, Parker Wilson, who was there for us. Parker, so how was this finally resolved?
Well, as you mentioned, it was very obvious that the MP in the hall at the time were not enthused about the comment made by the HPC president. So some of them were even pushing or asking for the House to call him before the Privileges Committee for insulting the integrity of everything. However, the ranking member on the Constitutional Affairs Committee, who is actually in the hall and, of course, presiding over what is happening, intervened. He apologized on his behalf and asked the MP to forgive us.
Honourable members, Honourable Sam George, with all apologies, at the beginning, I indicated that everybody should feel free and call a spade, but not a long spoon, so that we can have a free, fruitful discussion. So with all apology to any language that might be used, we want them to feel free and then give us the necessary input that will help the committee to come out with this particular bill. So with all apology, if there is any language that may amount to insults on behalf of every presenter, we will render an apology to you. So let's just make progress. I beg you, with all respect, I beg you.
Okay, so with that, they managed to make some progress. However, when the floor was open for those in the room to ask for clarity and pose further questions, it turned out that some other MPs had also taken offense at other aspects of the presentations made by the CDD. In particular, reference is made to Roxanne Dafiamekbo, who is a member of parliament for Sardai, who said he was offended that the suggestion had been made that the bill is not the original thought of the drafters.
when, in all humility, when you suggest that this bill is not original, we cannot be credited for the originality of thoughts. I got offended, but I know it's a very learned man. We've worked with him. He knows that's how the process is.
This then also then leads to another banter between Professor Prempeh and this time members of the committee. He was pushed to explain his point on this matter.
So it is not my argument that the proponents of the bill cannot look to templates from Russia or Uganda or Moldova or Hungary.
Prof,
Right.
did you allude to the fact that the thoughts are not their original thoughts?
That I'm not in their mind to know the thoughts where they originated.
No, did you say
Well,
that?
I do know. What I do know is that the World Congress of Families and other international advocacy groups have had. I've had conferences here, right, out of which some of these things have germinated. I'm not saying that it's not original. In fact, I made the point that I am looking to the particular mischief. You have heard it said many times. But when you ask, what is the particular mischief in Ghana here that this bill seeks to cure, you are led to San Francisco. You are led to websites. You are led to places. I asked the origin of the LGBTQ is on their website. Do you know any of these persons?
With all due respect, help this particular committee to make progress. The question that chairman is asking you is that in your presentation, did you say thought is not the original thought?
I am unable to say the originality of the thought. All I'm saying is that this bill is not original to Ghana or homegrown. It doesn't mean that your thought is not yours.
Well, Parker is still with me. Parker, in the last few minutes, there have been some more fireworks, this time between a particular member of the committee and Edem Senanu, who, of course, is a strong advocate of this particular bill.
Yes, it's the question about why should we criminalize sexual preferences in Ghana. This question was asked by a member of the committee and MP for Ablekuma West constituency, Esla Osuekufo. Now, the response from Senanu did not go down well with the MP, and sought to suggest that actually wasn't the response she was waiting for. So there was a bit of interjection, and Edem Senanu was more like, if you allow me to continue, at least you know where I'm going to, so that you have a better appreciation.
If you're saying that your sexual preference is dictated by your environment or your social circumstances or whatever, it cuts both ways.
Yes, nobody's disputing that.
Yes, so there is no gay gene. There is no straight gene. That's what you're saying, in effect.
Yes, insertion.
Thank you.
No, but why are you fighting me? I mean, I just made a simple answer. I don't understand the position. I'm just answering the question.
With all due respect, I am not fighting you.
No, I don't like the posture. I mean, I don't understand why it's as if I said A, you said B. But anyway, what's the second question?
I am not fighting you. I am asking a question that elicits
and I was just
a
answering.
simple answer.
Well, I've given my answer. In Ghana, we are not accepting. So I'm just expanding it for your understanding. In Ghana, as Ghanaians, our traditions support some values and don't support certain things. And as far as African civilization is concerned, this is the way to go. We will not go along with any Western civilization and notions.
Just calm down.
I'm just speaking. This is also the way I speak. I'm surprised she's squeezing her face. This is the way I speak, madam. Hello. Yeah, I can.
The example that you have given, my brother, the example that
value judgment, value judgment.
Adam, the example that you have given.
We'll hear from Mr. Senanu shortly, but one of those members of parliament who are taking exception to some of the presentations that had come before the committee today, particularly from the civil society group CDD and others, is the chief, architect of this particular bill, Sam George himself, who is one of those members of parliament who had come together to sponsor this bill, joins us on the telephone line right now. Mr. George, thank you for telling me on Top Story.
Good evening, everyone.
I saw watching this. I saw you when the concerns were raised by Mano Bedra, that you agree that some of the language and the posturing and the arguments either way. Bedra expressed it as insulting. You agreed with that?
Absolutely. This is a sitting of parliament. Yes, we have non-parliamentarians appearing before the committee, but this is Mr. Speaker's committee, and the views of the House apply to the committee. And that's why I asked the chairman pointed question. If his committee report made it to the floor of the House, and I used some of the words that HPC Temple used in describing the bill that has been accepted by Mr. Speaker, and in describing the proponents of the bill, that he, as chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Committee, say that Mr. Speaker would accept those responses as parliamentary, or I'll be asked to withdraw those words. I mean, it's just standard.
I mean, but Mr. George, really, what did he say wrong? I heard him say two things. The concerns were two. He says that, for example, that many have described this bill as trouble. I mean, he was just simply repeating what the description people have offered. And then he says this is a march towards totalitarianism and populism. I mean, that is his view. How is that insulting? And
well, if you read the standing orders of Parliament, it precludes you from impugning wrong motives on a member of Parliament. It is against the standing orders of the House to assume or suggest that the Speaker of Parliament has admitted a bill that is marching us towards totalitarianism. That members of Parliament have come together to march towards totalitarianism is an assault to the intent, is impeding the intent of members of the House. And so what he's called, when he signed up to the contract to propagate whatever he's propagating, it came up, I'm sure this was part of the terms and conditions. He didn't do the fine print.
So as it stands, of course, the apology came from, I saw one of the committee members who say, well, I apologize on his behalf. I assume that you've accepted that and this has ended it.
Oh, we have accepted it, but I think Honorable Bedra also took exception to a comment he made when he said at the time we're not our original source.
That is Daffy Amekbo-Roxy.
Yes, he denied it. And when he denied it, Honorable Bedra made the point that he would request for the tape, listen to the tape, and if HPC Temple lied to the committee, we would drag him before the Privileges Committee.
For what exactly?
For lying. You don't lie to a committee of Parliament. If he did say on tape during his submission, which we heard him say, that those thoughts were not original thoughts, but were the thoughts of other people who were represented, when he was asked a direct question by the chairman, because the chairman recognizes that was very unparliamentary. And so the chairman asked him, this really didn't hear it. The chairman asked him, did you make those comments? He denied. In fact, the chairman asked him about 4 times. He kept dancing around it. The chairman asked him categorically. He denied. So if the tape shows that he did indeed say that, he'll be in contempt of Parliament.
Because, in fact, just before we played that particular interaction, his point is, he was simply saying that, yes, you can borrow from elsewhere, but the contents of the bill, it's not unique. It's not something that, it's other countries have done so. That's a simple suggestion he was making.
Like I said, it will be viewed, the case will be viewed. If there's anything, this Honorable Bedra's position, I'm sure he'll take it up.
Well, I'm grateful. That is some George there in Parliament. So you can imagine how this now is beginning to play out now with threats now of civil society individuals who had come before them, indeed possibly being hauled before Privileges Committee for contempt of Parliament. Mr. George appears to still be in a meeting. Do we still have him? Let's see, because there are a few more issues that we need to clear with him, especially this penchant some have suggested that parliamentarians use, this cane the world over people with threats of, dragging them before the Privileges Committee. And really, this is a committee that the Speaker of Parliament had formed and had directed this to be held in public for a public hearing. And comments before this committee covered by privilege, such as members of Parliament will have when indeed they are in the course of work. We would indeed interrogate that a bit more. Mr. George is back. Mr. George, I understand he's still on the committee, but Mr. George, I mean, you've made a point that it's possible that once you review the tapes, you would possibly, well, Mr. Bedra says he will possibly haul him before the Privileges Committee. Won't that be abusing this process and a parliamentary tyranny, especially when you're simply inviting people to come and express their views, no matter how candid and brutal? That is the essence of democracy, is it not?
Well, how come every other person who has appeared before the committee is not having that issue? The point we're making is, yes, come here, have your say, but do it in a decorous manner. Do it in line with the dictates of Parliament. Parliament has rules, there are standing orders, and that's all we're asking that everybody should adhere by. I mean, there were several presenters today. Akoto Ampao appeared before the House today. He made his points very forcefully. Professor Emerita Techiwa made her points very forcefully. Those issues didn't arise. So it should tell you that it's about a particular person and the way he chose to go about his presentation. Yes, you're appearing before Parliament. Yes, you've been given the opportunity to make your words known. It's not an opportunity to come and insult members of Parliament.
And comments before the committee, a committee set up by the Speaker, covered by privilege.
This is a committee of Parliament. It's Mr. Speaker's Parliament committee. When the committee is sitting, the rules of the House are not only subject to the House, they're subject also to sittings of the House. Don't forget that I'm a member of the Public Accounts Committee, which meets frequently with individuals. In fact, we've had occasion to cause the immediate arrest of someone appearing before the Public Accounts Committee who was found to be lying to the committee through his teeth, and given the opportunity to withdraw it and still went ahead to repeat the lie. He was arrested. The Parliamentary Police Unit picked him up on live TV. So people should not underestimate the powers of the Committee of Parliament when that committee is sitting on official business. The standing orders of Parliament, of the main plenary, apply in our committees as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sam George. Of course, the committee hearing is still underway right now. A lot to chew from there. Pretty fluid developments, because indeed the United Nations representatives have also been before the committee. The AIDS Commission is now warning that the donor agencies may be cutting funding to it if this bill is not amended. I want to bring in Adam Senanu himself, who had also represented under Civil Society Group. We brought you a snapshot of his own heated exchange between himself and Esther Owusu, a member of the committee. Mr. Senanu, so given your own reaction to what unfolded, bits of it we had a short while ago. Hello, Mr. Senanu. Hello, Mr. Senanu.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I mean, what's your own reaction to what unfolded when you appeared before the committee, particularly that heated exchange between yourself and Esther Owusu?
Yes, sorry, the question again.
Your reaction to that exchange you had with Esther Owusu?
Oh, I think it was that's a healthy debate. I suspect she caught me when I was just trying to express myself, and I didn't understand why she was cutting me off. But, I think I understand that, yes, that's how she expresses herself, so that's okay.
Okay. I mean, so did this meet your expectation?
I think so. I think that the committee has tried to ensure that both sides of the divide on this issue have opportunity to express themselves. We've had some pretty detailed presentations, and I think that we've taken off quite well.
So this position you've expressed already, but now you've brought before the committee. What's your expectation now that at least the process has begun? You've managed to now make your public argument before the committee. Any particular expectations going forward?
Well, I know that the committee is going to do a line-by-line looking at it. I think we anticipate that there will be some changes in language and trying to make it probably something that accommodates most of the views that have come in. But I am clear in my mind that this is going to have to be passed because we are practicing a democracy where the majority views is what takes the day, and the majority of Ghanaians have a position on this matter.
Adamson, and I'm grateful that you join us with this. We'll shortly hear from the Center for Democratic Development. Dr. Kojo Asante will join us very shortly because, as you've heard today, the MPs are taking strong issue with the executive director's presentation today. In fact, there's a suggestion in the last few minutes, as you've heard there, Sam George articulate that they're going to be reviewing parts of his submission today regarding a point that Roxanne Dafemefo had made that he took offense at because of the suggestion that the bill is not the original thought of the drafters. Of course, Sam George claims that that is a subject of some review and that if they find that his subsequent justification may have misled Parliament, they would haul him before the Privileges Committee. We'll hear from the CDD shortly on this development post the presentation that was made by Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh. You want to stay with me for that?
All SIM cards in Ghana must be registered again with only the Ghana card. Yes, only the Ghana card.
You will not be able to make voice calls, use mobile money services, internet, and all other services linked to your SIM card if you don't.
To register, dial *404# and follow the prompts. You will be required to send the following details on your Ghana card: Ghana card number, surname, first name, date of birth, and sex.
You will then receive a special code which you will present to your nearest service provider agent or customer care center for your biometric details to be captured. Remember to add your digital address.
Dial *404# on your phone to start registering your SIM card today.
For more information, contact your service provider on 100 or the National Communications Authority on toll-free number 0800 110622. Register your SIM card to stay connected.
Enterprise alive and see we are moving. Aye, we are cruising.
Forward from Enterprise Live. Jam, I want some more. Now